May I share with you a story of complete and utter failure?
Need to rewire the set.
Right. Okay.
I got stabbed. Not right now. Fuck you. Fucking need me.
This whole sequence is absolutely brilliant. From the very fact that this was all highly foreshadowed throughout season 2 of The Bear, to the parallels it has to season 1, to the implications of it. I loved this scene. This episode as a season finale is fantastic. It's the perfect ending to what season 2 stood for and sets up a whole lot to look forward to in the future. Episode 10 of season 2 of The Bear, titled The Bear, is the one where they're having their first opening day of their new restaurant, The Bear, and if I have to say The Bear one more fucking, Carmy gets locked in a fridge. And while that's somewhat hilarious and somewhat fucking terrifying, it's actually narrative genius. This whole episode uses its high stakes and drama to create this very situation to convey its quintessential messages. One of those messages being, Season 2 of The Bear was the new beginning we were promised. Everyone in this team had a new goal. There was a new restaurant to open. After the disaster in season 1, everyone on the cast was determined to make the restaurant work this time around. If season 1 of The Bear was everyone gaining the trust in Carmy and believing in his vision, season 2 is about the entire staff stepping up to the next level that they're needed to be at. That meant getting Marcus to Denmark for new experiences, or it meant getting the others to culinary school to get their skills up. There was a ton to do in this season. Everyone in our cast found their own purpose and motivation in the starting of this restaurant. Sugar, or Natalie, finally came on board the operation to give her much needed help. Sydney found her new motivation in starting a new restaurant and aiming for a Michelin star. Carmy, though...
Being Carmy somewhere.
Carmy getting stuck in the fridge was his own fault. That sounds really obvious when I say it because it was foreshadowed basically all throughout the entire season. I got curious though. I wanted to check just how many times the fridge or the fridge guy came up in this season, so I went back and I did some digging. Here goes. Episode 1 of season 2 has 2 mentions in a row of the fridge being really fucked. Episode 2 has Marcus on the line with the fridge guy, throwing the phone at Carmy, completely missing that throw and shattering the phone. That same episode, Carmy does call the fridge guy back, but then gets distracted by something else happening in the kitchen. Episode 3, this is where Claire comes into the picture by the way, has a scene where he's asked by Claire if he's free, the camera pans to his to-do list, and the wall literally says, call fridge guy. The fridge handle quite literally breaks in the scene of episode 8. Episode 9 has the scene where Sid reminds him to call the fridge guy again. Instead of offloading that work to Nat, Carmy decides that it's something he must do. That same episode then has a scene where he's literally about to call the fridge guy and gets distracted by Claire, which he also ignores to do something completely different. And finally, episode 10, where Carmy gets locked inside the fridge. That is a lot of foreshadowing. That is a lot of references. And I'm not saying as an audience you should have picked up on all of these references or anything, but it's just funny how many times the issue comes up and how it built to the moment of Carmy essentially failing himself and the people around him. It was all his own fault. He had plenty of opportunities to do this one task, but he just didn't. The Bear, the restaurant that is, was something everyone on the cast wanted to make work, for which they needed everyone and everything to work as intended. And for what it's worth, everyone else on the cast stepped up to the occasion. Sid went out and got new ideas, learned about the industry. Tina got her skills up to par to be a new sous chef. Even fucking Richie, who God knows what he did in the kitchen before, had me apologizing for my utter ignorance at his capabilities. There were new members that were hired as chefs and waitstaff. The only one that wasn't putting everything they had into this was Carmy. It wasn't just the fridge either. There is multiple other things Carmy missed this season, like the shelf being on the wrong side, or this painting in this episode, or this random table that for some reason just wasn't right. It's his own neglect that caused the fridge situation, and it's made abundantly clear just how much Carmy didn't manage to get right for his own sake. While being a fantastic chef, one that everyone respected and looked up to, it was him ultimately that failed the whole operation on the opening night of the Bear, and it was him that had to suffer the consequences for it. And as much as the whole situation sucks for Claire, I feel like it was very obviously the problem here. Carmy obviously didn't have the capacity to do everything he needed to do for the restaurant while enjoying his life with Claire. And I see that all as a matter of terrible timing. Carmy needed to be there for his entire team, for the restaurant, and his priorities were in the wrong place. That's what got him into the whole mess in the first place. I really like how difficult this situation is, because as much as I was happy for Carmy finding a girlfriend, or well, a girl that's his friend at the very least, it really could have gone a lot better if he could actually communicate it. For what it's worth, I think he's definitely wrong about the not needing fun or enjoyment part, which is definitely something that leads on well into the next season. And as much as I don't agree with his choice of words here, I think he might have said it best himself.
I'm a fucking psycho. That's why I'm good at what I do.
He's good at what he does because of how he is. Well, that's perfect because Carmy cannot run a kitchen. Even beyond him failing his duties to the restaurant, the fridge scene shows why Carmy is the problem when it comes to the Bear. There were a lot of parallels between the first time it all went to shit and this time. Sid was getting overwhelmed, the ticket machine was whirring, they needed to get all these orders out quickly, there was tension in the kitchen, and most importantly, Carmy was absolutely fucking losing it. It was all on the verge of a similar collapse. The only difference this time though, Carmy gets locked in the fridge. Away from all the action, somewhere he can't control and fuck up this entire kitchen anymore. With the help of Sid and Richie though, the whole kitchen manages to not lose their way and find their footing, recovering their flow from a very precarious spot and completing their first service. This is our payoff from this entire season. The rest of our cast has leveled up. This has been what this season has amounted to for them, and without Carmy around, they definitely showed that they were capable of keeping calm and handling the pressure in a kitchen. I absolutely loved how bittersweet this felt. On one hand, the staff should all be proud at recovering a really messed up situation and pulling through. On another though, it's the realization that if Carmy wasn't stuck in that goddamn fridge, this would be another repeat of their last failure. Carmy is a brilliant chef. He has all the knowledge and expertise the restaurant needs to be elevated to a much higher level. It's Carmy's very own crippling fear of failure though, amongst other big things, that makes him the problem here. Between his trauma from the time he spent at the best restaurant in the world getting abused for failing and his utterly crazy family and their antics, he's messed up, he's broken. He failed to support the staff when the restaurant was going to open, and he failed to take control of his own kitchen when the times got tough. Carmy is the only one that's left behind. So it's all Carmy's fault then. He fucked up, he should be condemned. He is a bad, evil person. Well... Carmy fucking tried, man. The fridge has been fucked since the start of the season. You know how many times he almost managed to call the fridge guy or almost fixed all the problems that were going on? Every single time there's always something else to address in the scene, whether that's moving a fucking locker or trying a new dish or coming up with new ideas, or yeah, even managing his relationship with his girlfriend. Starting a restaurant is hard. There are 50 different things that need to go perfectly and 20 different tests that you need to pass and countless of other decisions you have to make to top it all off. Carmy tried to do it all. He tried to be responsible and live up to the expectations of everyone else around him. He tried to be better with Sydney as a business partner, gave Tina his knife as his approval, and got Marcus to Denmark. He tried to do way too much for his own good, and it's his fear of failure that doesn't let him accept the help of the people around him, and it's those same issues that make him unable to take control of the spiraling kitchen. While I don't prefer using his issues as a defense for his behavior, that is just his character. Carmy got issues, man. That's what needs to be solved. His issues with his family, his issues with his fear of failure, The values that got drilled into him since he was born, that made him who he is, that made him one of the best chefs in the world, are the problems that keep him stuck and left behind in the season. Which is perfect for a season finale because the show has always been about... I absolutely loved the show for this episode, especially because of what this all means to Carmy and how it really sets up the future for him. He's fucked. His crew essentially proved his existence as a burden, he realized how much he's been neglecting his duties, and to make matters worse, he misdiagnosed the issues to being his relationship's fault, which, while it might be true, caused a misunderstanding he never really wanted to cause. It's a low point for Chef Carmy, which is what gets me so excited to see what happens to him from here on out. The restaurant's opening could honestly have never gone perfectly, because then there would still be a ton of loose threads that don't get resolved here. Even apart from Carmy being a walking red flag, this whole season set up new issues that need to be resolved. Sydney has had doubts about Carmy being her partner for literally all throughout season 2. Ibra still needs to have his moment to shine after coming around to the plan. And one of the biggest ones of them all, the season literally ended with the implication that something terrible just happened to Marcus's mother. There is a lot to look forward to in the next season of The Bear, which at the time of this recording is still a few weeks away. This episode though, as a final episode to season 2, had it all. The tension, the drama, the payoff, and with that a lot to reflect on and a lot to look forward to. I just wanted to talk about this fridge scene because it was all so interesting to me just how much was done in these 40 minutes. There are a ton of beautiful moments in The Bear. Fantastic episodes. From fishes to forks, this show really has a lot to offer with its tension, drama, and character writing. With season 3 on the horizon though, this episode is the one that gets me the most excited to see what happens next, and I'm so glad I got to talk about it all in this video. Thank you all for coming along on this journey if you're still here. I hope you liked what I had to say about this episode and this scene. If you did, consider liking the video, it does really help me out a lot. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments. I don't often talk about shows on here, but I promise that's something that's probably changing for the better, and I'll consider doing way more of it now. So please consider subscribing. Thank you all for watching this one. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.